All right, what's up, YouTube? Take two. Uh, Technical difficulties. I'm gonna have to get this laptop fixed. But anyway, this video is gonna be a response to Antonio Fletcher's question on women and abortion after conceiving and rape. So let's just screen share and see what this question entails really quick.
Hey folks, what's up? I want to ask the pro-abortion question. You see, a lot of the times, pro-abortionists like to bring up abortion in the case of rape. Let's say, for the sake of argument, I were to agree, and we would allow abortion in the case of rape. Then I have a question for you, pro-aborts. How long do you think a woman should be able to get an abortion when she conceives in rape? Do you think she should be able to give for 4 months, 6 months, 7 months, 8.5 months? Maybe you think she should be able to get the entire pregnancy.
Well, I don't know about the latter, but as for the earlier part of the question, I'd say I would accept the criteria of the law-defined, established time limits within public policy right now. I think that is a decent criteria in terms of like the development of the growth of the fetus, because within the first trimester, there's not really much going there. There's not a brain, to my understanding, so there's no real awareness. Within the second trimester, it's a bit iffy, but there's not really many characteristics as well. And then, I mean, there might be some appendages, and the gender might be more apparent in that growth, but it's still not there overall. So I think that's a good criteria, for whether or not she wants to have the child or not, or conceive her rapist child, like at the end of the pregnancy. But that's the criteria I'd go with.
The reason why I ask this is because if you don't think she should be able to get an abortion the entire 9 months of pregnancy when she conceives in rape, you are you are for imposing limits upon her choice in her conceiving in rape. How do you defend that? Because you're the same people who say that it's wrong for pro-lifers to stop a woman from exercising the right to get an abortion if she conceives in rape. But you are also for...
Yeah, see, I really don't see it as like some kind of hypocritical scenario or whatever, because within the medically established time limits of the law, it provides a decent criteria for her having the ability to make that choice. I mean, the pro-lifers, they just remove the choice altogether and say there's only one way. Within the pro-choice mindset, there's the option, because I mean, dealing with the specific issue of the rape victim, I mean, she's just been attacked. She realizes that she's pregnant with her rapist child, and she's facing a conundrum. Does she want to have her attacker's child or not? Does she want to have that reminder walking around that, hey, mommy, daddy raped you to make me, So I think that's the lesser of evils over, making women have their attacker's child, or whether or not it affects her health in that other regard, or them being born in a situation where they are wards of the state, or in unloved homes or whatever. But those are different scenarios. Let's just see what else he has to say.
Imposing limits. If you are for banning abortion at any time she conceives in rape, because here's the thing: the woman can deal with a number of different emotions. A woman can deal with all sorts of things when she conceives in rape. She might be juggling with the idea of, well, do I really want to have this child? So maybe she'll think about getting the abortion as soon as possible. Or maybe she'll have second thoughts and be like, well, I don't want to kill my baby. So maybe, I'll have this child. But she decides to keep the child first, but later down the road, she's still dealing with that horrific incident that happened to her and juggling a child in the process. So
yeah, I think given those parameters, given the variables that you mentioned, I feel like what we have now in terms of that evidence-based policy, I think that gives her like the best options to deal with whether or not you want to have their kid. Because you are right, there are some women who do choose to give birth to their children when they are a product of rape. There are some women who don't choose that. You know, it's really dependent on her liberty and her her choice with her body. You know, just within what we've established in law.
A woman can be dealing with a lot of heavy emotions for a long time. Rape don't just go away in one day. For a lot of women, it don't go away at all. But that's the thing. If you really think abortion is justifiable in the case of rape, you still have to answer the question, how long do you think she should be able to make that choice? If you think she should be able to make it the entire 9 months of pregnancy, then you have the problem of trying to justify abortion, later down the road. Do you think she should be able to decide what she wants to do when it gets to like 6 months and 7 months and beyond? If you think so, then you got to throw out your viability argument too. You can't use viability as an argument. You can't fall back on that if you think she should be able to make that choice late term.
Yeah, I don't know about late term. That's why I said first trimester, second trimester. The like what has been established since Roe v. Wade as a legal precedent. So sort of that regard, as well as the issue of, it was forced on her. So I mean, if she's aware about it within that time, in order to get that available abortion, then the option's there for her.
Now, if you think she should not be able to make the choice the entire 9 months, then again, you have to justify imposing limits upon her when she conceives in rape. How are you going to justify that? Because you are the same people who would fire back at pro-lifers and say, well, you are doing something immoral by trying to impose on her when she conceived in rape. That's messed up. But you are doing the exact same thing if you think limits should be there. So either you got to deal with the obvious problems of late-term pregnancy if you are for allowing her to get that decision the entire pregnancy, or you have to deal with violating the foundation of your own position.
I don't think it's really like violating the foundation of at least my position. I can't speak for people who think that she should be able to make the decision long term, because at that point it's sort of like undefendable, at least in terms of like reasonable precedents that we've seen before. I mean, there hasn't been any like late term abortions or anything like that. So I mean, there's that. I mean, we're just speaking in more in like the moderate like position and criteria that we have like up to date. I do think that deciding whether or not she could have the potential life given birth like within what we have in terms of medical science and what we have in law and order right now, I think it's the lesser of evils, as opposed to forcing women to have their child's attackers. I don't think they like if a person like here's from my perspective as a dude. If my wife or daughter was attacked or in a situation where they had another individual force themselves on them and they became pregnant, I think it's up to them whether or not they want to have them like choose whether or not to have the child of that person, because one, is their body, and two, it's their life that's going to be impacted the most as a result of this. So I think that's the lesser of evils, what we have now, as opposed to just forcing them to wholesale have the child and deal with that burden. So, I mean, that's my thing. I mean, if you want to continue this discussion, if you want to like debate on this further or anything like that, you could contact me, Antonio. I've been meaning to have a discussion with you on this subject for quite some time, so it might be interesting. But yeah, that's my answer to that. Let's see if he has some more in the video.
So that's what you pro-abortionists have to deal with. That's the important question. So even when you try to justify abortion in the case of rape, you're not quite.
He's kind of repeating himself. I mean, I've already addressed it. I guess I'll wait for a response from him on that issue and in a later video. But yeah, that's my answer, Fletcher. So yeah, that's my answer. So with that, that's been my video. That's my response to Antonio Fletcher's question. This has been Wolf King. Peace out. If you like this video, you know what to do. Chill and hail Satan. Later.